Alright guys, so we're outside. We went ahead and put the taillights in, tested them out, made sure that they worked and stuff. Here's the old taillight. If y'all don't know, it's just two 8mm screws. One right here and one right here. Just zip them out with the impact. Both of them look like that. And so here is a before they're painted of how they look on the truck. They look pretty ricey, I'll be honest. They look pretty ricey in chrome. Now if you wanted to get these, they make them with just a black housing, and that would look good. You wouldn't really have to go through all this work, but I just wanted to paint on the smooth chrome surface. But I will see you back inside. Alright guys, so let's go over what all you're going to need to do the taillight build yourself. What all I'm using. You're going to need the taillights, and then I'm going to be using some 600 grit. I'm going to be wet sanding the lenses, and then using adhesion promoter. Then I have some 1K Spray Max color matched spray paint. I'm going with the XL Clear. I've used this before. It lays really good. It's very low orange peel to be coming out of a spray can. Then I'm going to be using just some tape just to fill in the voids whenever we paint the lens. And then here is the pinstriping tape that I'll be using, made by 3M. Then just some plastic bonder, JB Weld, epoxy, whatever you want to call it. And then some popsicle sticks. I got two different sizes here, some smaller ones for the smaller areas and just big ones. And then I went ahead and sprayed one of my reflectors in my door just to test the color, and then just held it up to the paint, and it matches good, so the paint's good, ready to go. And then I use this, so we'll be covering the lenses with that just so we don't scratch them whenever we're working with them. Then you're going to need a heat gun. I'm using a Wagner heat gun, and then some Dremel cutting wheels and a Dremel of your choice, and that pretty much covers it. So let's get right into it. Okay guys, so the first step is going to be to remove these Phillips head screws off of the back of each one from the back of the LEDs. Okay guys, so once you've got those 3 screws out, you can go ahead and pull that off. Oh, pull that off. And then once you pull that plate off, there's going to be 2 more screws on the LED on the back side of it. 2 Phillips head screws, so let's go ahead and take those off. Alright guys, so we got those out. We're going to go ahead and pull these motherboards off, or whatever they're called. And set that to the side. Go ahead and set this one to the side. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug these, pull those, set them to the side. Okay guys, next step's going to be, there's some glue right here. So we're going to heat that up with the heat gun, and there's going to be 3 Phillips screws under each one. Let that heated up. That's going to expose the 3 Phillips screws on each side. Hope you can see those pretty good. So after we cut them apart, then this piece right here, you can see that line right there. It goes up and around. So this center piece will actually come out, so we can remove the LEDs on the inside and get good clean paint coverage on that without having to worry about masking off the LEDs or whatever. It comes apart just like this did, pretty much, just with the screws. And then right here is all of the black goop or glue or sealant, whatever you want to call it, that was all around that. So we'll save that, and then we'll put it back on there after we get them cut apart, painted, cleared, put back together. Yes, it's time to start cutting. So we're going to go ahead and trim this in. So what I wanted to do to start with was just make one little line, and as you can see, cut straight through it. And so I'm going to take that and the distance, you know, that I went from the edge, I'm going to make just a little guideline all the way around the same distance. Now that I have that cut and I can see that that's the correct width, you know, how deep to go in, where, you know, where to start cutting, So I'm just going to go ahead and make a guideline and cut all the way around in a circle, the same distance from the outside all the way around, all the way through, and then pull this off. And go ahead and mark your line all the way around, and go ahead and Dremel and cut your lens off, as I've done. So cut the lens off of both of them, and this is about how much is left on the side, if that gives you an idea on how much to cut. So I just went about that far over, and now you end up with this. So now that we've got the lenses off, we're going to go ahead and remove these 3 Phillips screws that we were talking about earlier and separate them. Once you have the 3 screws out that were where the sealing was, the glue, you're going to want to heat up around this cord right here if you have the spider tail lights. So what we're pretty much trying to do is just get this LED square right here free. So, and then it goes in with these silver prongs, as you can see on this one. So the silver prongs that go through there, those 3 silver prongs. So you're going to want to take your heat gun and heat up around those 3 prongs, and then like I said, right there on those wires. I'm just using this little pick from a pick set, and pretty much just moving it all the way until you can see the little rubber grommet. As you can see, this is some sticky stuff. So we're going to go ahead and set that down. And I'm using my Phillips head screwdriver. And you pretty much just want to take it and just push right there on each one of those little silver things, just slowly working the whole module out. We've got the 3 prongs pushed out, and as you can see on the back side, there's that rubber grommet. So you just want to pull that rubber grommet out like that. Pull your connector out. And there you have it. There's that piece. So now that we have this piece out, we want to remove the LEDs. So there's 4 Phillips head screws holding this on, and then that just pulls right off. So once you have your 4 Phillips head screws out, this piece right here, the LEDs on the side, they're actually hot glued in there, so you're going to want to heat those up and then go ahead and push that out, and then you're ready to pull this whole motherboard off. Once you've heated and slid this part up right here where it was hot glued, you can go ahead and pull this whole motherboard off, and now you have your piece that's ready to paint. Now that we have everything disassembled, the prep starts. So what we're going to do is we're going to wet sand all of this with the 600 grit sandpaper. Wet sand this, wet sand both of these. The reflectors, you can remove them or you can just paint over them. I choose just to paint over them, but I will say if you do paint over them, you need to be super careful whenever you're painting, because I've seen some people do this and they paint very heavily around their reflectors, and then the paint will build up and it just looks kind of odd whenever the paint is built up on the inside. So just keep that in mind whenever you're painting this reflector part around the seam of it. You don't want that paint build up. You want it to look like, you know, as if you removed it and painted it, whatever. So like I said, you just kind of just spray lightly around it, and then that should get you covered on that. So like I said, just wet 600 grit all of this, all the plastic. Leave your lenses alone. Set those to the side. You don't need them. And then after the 600 grit wet sanding process, you're going to go with your adhesion promoter and put 2 to 3 light coats on there. Let that completely dry. And then we're going to come in of whatever color you're doing, black, metallic, you know, whatever. In this case, it's going to be charcoal beige. So then you're going to go ahead and put, I'll probably do about 4 or 5 light coats. Just get it real nice and even, full coverage. These reflectors don't have any lights underneath them, so you don't really have to worry about like light showing through or anything like that. So like I said, just 4 to 5 light coats of the base coat in whatever color you're doing. And then you're going to come in with the clear. So we will go ahead and get these wet sanded. Okay, so after I've wet sanded them, right in here doesn't really matter a whole lot because that's going to get covered anyway, like so, you know, so that doesn't really matter. These are a big thing, you know, make sure you get those good, and then the outsides, you know, pretty good. So pretty much just wet sand it with 600, wash it all off, use compressed air if you have it to dry it. If not, let them sit somewhere you know it. I'm also using a blow dryer. Just make sure that they're 100% dry. I like the compressed air because the water builds up in behind these reflectors, and I can just blow it out with the air compressor. So I got all that out, and then I'm going to wipe everything down with alcohol, and then we'll be ready to go lay some adhesion promoter to it, and then I will see you then. Alright guys, I just now finished up putting on the adhesion promoter coatings. So we will go ahead and let this dry, and then put base on, and then I'll check back in. We have got probably about 4 light to medium coats, probably more towards medium. And that is of just base. There's no clear on here yet. The more even you get it, the better it's gonna look. So I'm gonna bring these outside and show them to you in the natural light. So we're probably gonna put another, there's still some spots down here that are showing up red. I don't know if you can see it on camera. And then in the reverse housing, it's a little bit hard to get in there. So we'll probably put just one more coat, like up here towards the top, and we'll probably do about 2 or 3 more light coats, and then you'll always finish it off with one heavy thick coat to get it to look like this. I think it looks really good, and we are gonna finish these up, and then I will show you what they look like before we clear coat them. I wanted to go ahead and show you these two. The only spot that's kind of hard is down in here, because you don't want to make it run obviously, but these are looking pretty good too. So we will put probably another, I'll probably put 2 or 3 more coats on these, and then they'll be ready for clear coat as well. Okay guys, so we got the paint done. Looks pretty good. So I'm gonna let it sit for a while and cure. Pretty much the steps for putting them back together is just exactly the opposite of what you all just seen whenever we were taking them apart. So we'll go ahead and get these things flipped over and set in there, and then we'll start JB. Okay guys, so once we've got them set back in there, you can see the line. And what we'll do is we're just gonna take the popsicle sticks. I've got 2 different sizes here. And then we will mix up our epoxy plastic bonder, and then we're gonna just be running it right down that line and just resealing the whole taillight. Okay guys, so what we're doing is we're just taking the popsicle stick and we're just wiping it all around through there, and we got it all sealed up all the way around. So now we're gonna let that harden and form, and then we're gonna mix up some more, and then we're gonna put another bead, probably just as thick if not thicker, all the way around, and really get that sealed off really good. So there's another look at it, and we're pretty much just trying to make it like that line was never even there. And then we can get to masking off the lens and painting the lens. Alright guys, so once I got them all JB welded up, got a good thick seal on there, I just went in with a little bitty brush and some of this craft paint from Walmart. Super cheap, and it had great coverage. Honestly, that's just like 1 coat, so that's not really necessary, but I just thought that it cleaned it up a little bit because the JB weld ended up being like a tan color. So I just thought that made it look a little bit better. So next step will be to flip them over, mask off the trim, and then we will paint that trim and peel them off. Once they dry, they'll be completely done. The next step is going to be masking off the edges, so we can go ahead and paint the trim to cover up all the Dremel marks and all of the tan seal that flowed through, just to give it a much cleaner look. And then you don't have to worry about dirt buildup on the outside of it. You know, that builds up with dirt and grime and everything else, so it just makes it just look a lot cleaner. I will get back to you whenever I get that finished up. Okay guys, so with the 3M tape, I went around and just kept it even, about the same width all the way around, and that's what you end up with. And now we're going to use this other tape just to fill in the big void. So I will check back with you whenever I get that done. Okay guys, we got these masked up. We're masked off, and we are ready to go. So we will go ahead and spray these. Here's another look at the back if y'all was curious how bad it looked or what it actually looked like on the back. It pretty much just looks like somebody put like black, like RTV sealant, like all the way around the edges. So it doesn't really look that bad, honestly. So yeah, let's get to painting. Alright guys, so we just finished up painting the outside trim. Man, do these things look good. Super pumped with how these came out. These things look freaking awesome. I'm gonna throw up a short clip of them in the truck. Alright guys, that's all for today's video. I appreciate y'all tuning in. And for more F250 videos and dirt bike videos and vlogs and all kinds of other stuff, just remember to like and subscribe and comment what you want to see next. Peace.